he's working for free with Doge. He's kind of put a lot of his life on hold. If you read and believe the media, he's become one of your best friends. He's working for free for you.
Well, I love the president. I just want to be clear about that.
You don't care about that.
I know. I love the president.
You love the president.
I think President Trump is a good man, and he's, you know.
It's nice the way he said that. You know, there's something nice about it.
It really is. You know.
I know every businessman. I know the good ones, the bad ones, the smart ones, the lucky ones. I know them. This guy's he's a brilliant guy. He's a great guy. He's got tremendous imagination and scientific imagination, far beyond, you know, you keep talking about a technologist and all, but you're much more than a technologist. You are that. But he's also a good person. He's a very good person, and he wants to see the country do well. And I know a lot of great business people, really great business people, but, you know, they're not really, in some cases, very good people. And I know people that would try and take advantage of the situation. This guy's somebody that really cares for the country, and I saw that very early on. I saw it really a long time ago when I got to know him. He's a very different kind of a character. That's why, you know who loves him? Young people that are very smart.
And that's why I like my T-shirt says tech support, because I'm here to provide the president with technology support.
Elon called me. He said, you know, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. No, they said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock.
As I scroll this information, and I'll scroll a lot more than I'll mention to both of you, and this is the cost savings. I want people at home to understand this part. Average American makes $66,000 a year.
Yeah.
Okay? We have $37 trillion in national debt.
Yes.
Now, all the money I'm about to mention and what we're going to scroll on our screen, and all of this is going to foreign countries. It is not being spent here in America for better schools, law and order.
Well, the overall goal is to try to get $1 trillion out of the deficit. And if the deficit is not brought under control, America will go bankrupt. This is a very important thing for people to understand. A country is no different from an individual in that if an individual overspends, an individual can go bankrupt, and so can a country. And the massive waste, fraud, and abuse that has been going on, which is leading to a $2 trillion a year deficit. That's what the president was handed on Jan 20th, a $2 trillion deficit. It's insane.
For this fiscal year.
Yeah, we inherited.
Yeah.
And inflation is back. I'm only here for 2.5 weeks.
That was January.
Inflation is back.
For a week.
No, think of it. Inflation's back, and they said, "Oh, Trump." I had nothing to do with it. These people have run the country. They spent money like nobody's ever spent. They were given $9 trillion to throw out the window. $9 trillion. And they spent it on the Green News scam, I call it. It's the greatest scam in the history of the country. One of them. We have a lot of them, I guess, but one of them. Dollar-wise, probably.
DEI and wokeism and transgenderism.
Well, that's all part of it, yeah.
And LGBTQ+.
Yes.
By the way, not in America. Other countries, not here.
Government has only two ways of getting money other than raising taxes. It can go into the money market and borrow, competing with its own citizens and driving up interest rates, which it has done, or it can print money, and it's done that. Both methods are inflationary. We're victims of language. The very word inflation leads us to think of it as just high prices. And then, of course, we resent the person who puts on the price tags, forgetting that he or she is also a victim of inflation. Inflation is not just high prices. It's a reduction in the value of our money. When the money supply is increased, but the goods and services available for buying are not, we have too much money chasing too few goods.
With inflation. All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously, very seriously. And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country. So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously.
But the short story, for those that don't know the financial system, incredible scam. Money has been allocated to those at the top of the pyramid. Those people are the ones that are allowed to print the money. In America, it's the Federal Reserve. Here, it's the Bank of England and the European central banks. These fraudsters are allowed to print money out of thin air, backed by nothing. Backed by nothing. And they were given that power by our corrupt, greedy, pathetic so-called leaders, whether they're prime ministers or politicians, all of them traitors with the rarest of exceptions. They have given the power on behalf of us, who they supposedly speak for these tyrants to be able to print the money. They then loan the money. They then loan the money to the banks at interest. At interest. We pay interest to people who print money, which we could print ourselves debt-free. And yet we allow them to do this. So they print the money, and then they loan it to the banks at which we own the interest. And they've had this fraudulent system in existence for many, many hundreds of years now. And this system is inherently debt-driven. The point of it is to indebt us, so that we have to pay more and more taxes to pay off a debt that can't possibly be paid off. Because the amount of debt that is created from the money that is printed, there is not enough money in circulation to pay off the debt. So there will always be debt. There is no way to balance the budget. We will always be in debt. So while we're having these so-called austerity measures being played out in front of us, while education is becoming far too expensive for most working class people to be able to send their kids off to university, while our social services are being cut, systems are being privatized, and you're wondering how you're going to keep a roof over your head or a job and put food on the table for your family, we are paying debt. To who? This is the one question. The one question when they talk about the debt and the need to cut social services and increase your taxes, why are we doing that? Because we're in debt. To who? Who do we owe the money to exactly? Do we ever think about that? Who do we owe the money to? I'll tell you who we owe the money to. The Rothschilds, the Oppenheimers, the filthy rich banksters that are running this system, that our corrupt prostitute politicians gave the power to these tyrants to do. You all have not worked hard enough. None of you have worked hard enough. None of you working class people out there have worked hard enough. You haven't worked hard enough, and you owe the Rothschilds money. And they're taking away your social services, and they're telling you you need to go fight a war. In Iran now. In Syria. And what do they do with the war? They make money off of us, again. And they send our sons and daughters off to war, to kill innocent people, to rape them, to steal their land. And all the while, with hypocrisy doesn't even begin to explain us talking about freedom and democracy. It is a joke, and it mocks all of us. And the head of the snake is the financial system. And Henry Ford rightly said, it's a good thing that people don't understand the financial system, because if they did, there will probably be a revolution by the morning. And it's true. We owe money to the filthy rich. That's who we're in debt to. They could say, we're going to wipe the debt clean. For me, that wouldn't be enough. Are you kidding me? You think you're going to get off that easy? For hundreds of years, you've been enslaving the people in your debt-driven system. And you think that you're just going to be able to wipe the slate clean and that's going to be it? Hell no. If you don't hang from a lamppost, you should consider yourself lucky for the scam that you have perpetrated on the people. And the thing is that they've got us all by this system. They control the money. It's not even paper to them. They don't even need to print the money. They can simply go into a computer, type in a couple extra zeros in an account, and someone has got money.